Alright, good evening folks, it's Enforcer Matt and welcome back to another short war summary, and today we're receiving very big news out of NATO that the NATO Secretary General is starting to warn people to prepare for war with Russia in the next coming years, and we see other countries like Germany jumping on that bandwagon and starting to prepare for a war that might be coming very soon. So we have that big breaking news today, and let's go ahead and jump right into our first big news story of the day, which is from Nexta on Twitter. And as we can see in this article right here, it says the NATO Secretary General urges to prepare for a confrontation with Russia that could last for decades. And it says that Jens Stoltenberg called for an increase in the production of weapons in Europe, and the current rate of production, in his opinion, is suitable for peacetime, but not for a large-scale conflict. He also says at the same time, he emphasizes that it is crucial not to let Putin win the war in Ukraine, because if Putin wins in Ukraine, there is no guarantee that Russian aggression will not spread to other countries, says Stoltenberg. And that is a very big warning indeed. We have heard Stoltenberg say in the past to prepare for war with Russia, but this seems to be a renewed, more urgent call to do so for some reason. And obviously, the public is not always privy to every single piece of intel or news that comes out behind the scenes. And I'm beginning to wonder if there is some kind of renewed intel that suggests that Russia may be planning on moving on the alliance in the near future. There's just simply no way for us in the public to know, but what is for certain is Stoltenberg feels very strongly that countries should start building up their armaments and also training their soldiers to basically participate in a large-scale conflict, and that could mean world war. So that is a very serious warning indeed. And in the next post here, we learn more about what countries are doing to prepare for that potential war. And this is another post from Nexta, and it says the German army should be ready for war in 5 years, says the German general and Bundeswehr Inspector Breuer. He also says here in the second part of the article that he and another general secretly visited Kyiv on the day of Zelensky's resignation, writes Bild, which is a European newspaper. So we can see here that Germany is taking that threat very seriously. But one thing I will say is that for Germany to need to basically take 5 more years to prepare for war, that's not good in my opinion. Germany should have been prepared for war already, and the fact they're having to take an entire 5 years to get ready for a full-scale war to take place indicates to me that they are kind of not ready and really caught off guard by this entire situation. And that makes me wonder, what have they been doing in the meantime not to be, prepared for this? Because that is their entire job as the army of Germany, is to be ready to support their allies and also protect their own sovereignty if a country like Russia or other enemies are ready to invade them. So it seems like they've been caught asleep at the wheel to some extent, which is not good for the entire security of the NATO alliance. But nonetheless, they are getting ready and they're following Stoltenberg's advice, which is a good sign. And with that, we're moving on to our next post here, which is from the Ukrainian front. And in this post, we see that the Russian armed forces have allegedly unpacked a Starlink satellite modem, as we can see here in the photo. And I will say right off the bat, we don't have confirmation of this. This is a photo allegedly showing one being unboxed in some place in Russia, but we don't know for certain how they got their hands on this or what unit in the Russian army is allegedly unboxing this. So this is a very unconfirmed report, but it is disturbing nonetheless that the Russians may have their hands on a Starlink modem, which would improve their internet connectivity very, very much over what they already have. Because like everything in Russia, none of their stuff works right, including their internet satellites as well. And the Starlink here would be a massive improvement. So we'll have to wait and see exactly if this is true and how they got their hands on it to know more. But in the next post here, we do have a statement from SpaceX. It officially said it is not selling Starlink to Russia, and the terminals could have come through third-party countries if they're actually there in the first place. And also we see here in this other post from Nexta that Starlink terminals have appeared in Russian online stores for sale to the military. And it says, in parallel, the quality of internet for Ukrainian military on the front line has sharply deteriorated. And there's questions here arising whether or not Musk is prepared to deactivate these terminals. But at the same time, I have to challenge that a little bit, because Russia in itself, if you go to the SpaceX website, is an entire dark zone. There is no connectivity in Russia right now to link up to the satellite with these Starlink modems. So I'm not really sure exactly if these modems will actually be used for actually connecting to the internet, which is what they're designed to do, or is the Russians simply getting their hands on them for the hope of maybe trying to jury-rig some way to get a connection to these satellites, but I'm not really sure. And it doesn't seem that anybody else is sure as well, but SpaceX is assuring people that they are not selling Starlink to Russia, and hopefully there is a way to prevent them from using those. So, with that being said, we're moving on to our next post here, which is from the Euromaidan Press. And we have heard in the recent days that Ukraine is looking to build out their drone capabilities, including starting an entire section of the military dedicated to just the operation and production of drones. And we see here that Ukraine has started the mass production of a new model of kamikaze drone, which is a loitering munition that rivals the Russian Lancet drone, and it says a deadly weapon that can hit targets within a range of 40 kilometers. So a very potent weapon indeed, and this is a testament to Ukraine's dedication to building out their drone technologies, which have become a very crucial part of their frontline strategy. And in fact, like we've said many times in the past, this is the first full-scale drone war that we've seen in history, and we can see here that the pace of technology is rapidly increasing, and Ukraine seems to be at the forefront of this. Other countries like Turkey are also building their own drones out to sort of sell to third parties as well, but it looks like Ukraine and Russia, really more Ukraine because Russia's really not developing much of anything that's new, are really building out their technology, which is good to see because Ukraine will have a massive advantage with these new drones, which is what they need to win on the battlefield. And with that being said, we're moving on to our next post, which is from the Institute of the Study of War. And this is about that controversial Tucker Carlson and Putin interview, which came out about a couple of days ago, that was met with some very fierce criticism by pretty much everybody on every side, and understandably so, because the interview really did not bring us any new information whatsoever about anything. So it says here in the post from the ISW that the Russian online community noted that Putin did not offer any new information in his interview with Tucker Carlson and simply repeated long-standing Kremlin talking points about Russia's full-scale invasion of Ukraine for American audiences. And that is definitely true. That's basically what it was. Putin came out and repeated every single propaganda point that he's been yapping about for years now. Ever since the war started, there was nothing new in that interview. And basically, Tucker Carlson was held hostage the entire time while Putin gave a very skewed and messed up version of history and just basically did not answer any question directly that was asked to him. So it was a pointless interview, and we kind of knew that going into it. It really wasn't going to be anything of substance, but I think it was even worse than we'd expected previously. And also, like if you noticed during the interview, many people were wondering if Tucker was going to be favorable to Putin or not. And to me, it looked like Putin was actually mocking Carlson at several times during the interview. It was also somewhat tense and hostile, and it did not seem like it was going the way that it was planned out by Carlson. So the entire interview was a waste, and that's basically the bottom line of it, and there's not much else to say rather than that. But moving on to our next post here, we have one from Nexta once again. And this is a very disturbing post indeed, because this one shows the commander of a Russian missile frigate, Admiral Gorshkov, boasting to a propagandist in Russia that the Zircon missiles that they launch strike residential 5-story buildings with a centimeter accuracy. So in this video here, which we're about to watch in just a moment, this Russian general right here, actually this Russian admiral, is sitting here bragging about attacking civilian targets that are unarmed, which is clearly a war crime, out loud to the general public. So this is absolutely a bombshell video right here. So let's go ahead and take a look and see what he's saying. He says, as for point accuracy, it is about
точности наведения, ну там буквально сантиметры. Сантиметры. И это касается в том числе и циркона, да. То есть если стоит в перекрестие, можно вот как снайпер попасть в перекрестие. Практически да, если вот стоит пятиэтажный дом, то мы прицелились в подъезд, то где-то вот, если не в этот подъезд, то в соседний источник летает. По, скажем так.
Absolutely despicable right here. This guy literally admitted to striking civilian targets on TV, and either he did that because he's super comfortable with doing so, and he does not fear any repercussions whatsoever, which is certainly a possibility, or he simply let that out by accident, and then he realized after the fact, geez, I shouldn't have said that on live TV. We're supposed to keep that on the down low. But as we can see here, this is perfect evidence that Russia is committing war crimes. And this guy right here who launches these missiles is saying that he strikes these buildings with centimeter accuracy, which is a war crime. These are civilians, they're unarmed, and they're not military targets. Absolutely despicable. And I just absolutely hate to hear that. But it is good because one day, if there ever is a war crimes trial, these guys can be held responsible. This will be direct evidence that these guys have participated in it and has been basically ordered by Putin himself that this be done. So not good at all. And with that piece of news out of the way, we do have a piece of positive news here. We're learning from Reuters that the Ukraine aid bill inches forward in the U.S. Senate, and it has actually not passed the Senate yet. It got a majority in the Senate, but it has not passed. But once that happens, it will go to the House, and hopefully from there it will be passed. It includes aid for not only Ukraine, but also other countries as well, such as Taiwan, and hopefully that will get passed because all these countries need that aid to help prepare, like Stoltenberg said, for a potential world war scenario that might be coming in the future. So with that, that is our last piece of news for the day. I hope you found this video informative, and if you have, please press that like button and also subscribe to the channel as well, because that greatly helps us out. And with that, please join us tonight on our War News stream at night at 10 p.m. Eastern, and bye-bye for now.